Critical Role Recap, Season 2, Episode 8. The beginning of the episode was mostly just doing cleanup from the night before. They're kind of partying and celebrating the fact that they had rescued all these villagers. They had eradicated the threat to the villagers, and so there shouldn't be any more gnolls attacking them anytime soon. So then they went back to their bar, the Feed and Mead, and partied a little bit, had some drinks, and Caleb identified all of the new items that they had picked up. Bo got the night vision goggles that we kind of already knew about. The glove that Bo picked up off of the priest was a glove of like Scorching Ray, so it allows you to cast Scorching Ray. The ring that Ford had picked up was a ring of water walking, apparently. It allows you to walk on top of any liquid. The wand was a wand of smiles, which just you cast at someone, and if they fail a charisma check, they smile for a minute uncontrollably. So not terribly useful, but Jester got a kick out of it. And then the glaive was a magical glaive, a useful item, but not for them, because no one in the party can utilize the glaive, really. I think the only person who might have been able to use it possibly would be Ford, but Ford's already got this kind of like super powerful weapon that he'll be unlocking the potential of further into the season, I'm sure. The next morning they wake up and we find out that I was right to an extent. Jester had been in a brothel of sorts. Apparently her mother is the Ruby of the Sea, who is this renowned courtesan, but Jester, it turns out, is an unacknowledged daughter of this woman, and she kind of had to be kept secret. Otherwise it could hurt the courtesan, the Ruby of the Sea's persona. In Jester's time there at the brothel, she had seen, as we mentioned an episode or two ago, she had seen the person who is now the de facto leader of Allfield, of the town that they're in. And so she used that as leverage to get him to write a letter of recommendation for Ford, so that Ford could have a letter for entrance into the Solstice Academy. He did write that letter, thanks to the little bit of blackmailing from Jester. Jester then revealed quite a bit of her backstory, so a lot of character development in this episode. There wasn't really any combat, but there was a lot of character development. They also named themselves the Mighty Nine, N-E-I-N, so the Mighty No, but also Nine. I'm sure there will be plenty of puns dealing with that later, and I assume Matt will have some NPCs saying, "I thought there were 9 of you." They officially named themselves the Mighty Nine, and then they went off on their way to Zadash after getting paid out tons of money for all the Gnoll ears, the people that they saved, the captives that they saved, and also the dead bodies that they brought back. They got paid for all of those. On their way to Zadash, on their second night, they ended up getting ambushed by a few bandits. They had some really bad rolls when they were keeping watch, like the entire trip, basically. And so they were caught unaware for the most part. And so the bandits had managed to catch them in an opportune moment. Caleb used his friend spell and used that to get advantage on persuasion rolls, and convinced the bandit leader that they all had a horrible case of syphilis in order to try and prevent them from taking their stuff. And so they kind of kept their distance for a bit, but then when the friend spell wore off, the dude immediately knew what was going on, and a little volley, an exchange took place, like a Mexican standoff, as Matt called it. Caleb got hit by 3 crossbow bolts at once and instantly got knocked down, but Caleb managed to incinerate the leader of this little bandit group. Bo caught one of the bolts that was shot Caleb's way and threw it back into a guy, and another guy got hit by Ford's spell, so they immediately took a lot of damage. Their leader was incinerated in front of their eyes, turned to ashes. And so they kind of like, whoa, stop, hang on, never mind. Like, we're good. We don't want to continue this. And so Jester, you took advantage of the situation and started to command them to drop all their stuff and strip completely naked. And when they did, it was evident that they were kind of this ragtag bunch of people who maybe this is their first time trying their hand at banditry. And we're not really cut out for the job. They ended up taking a little bit of pity on them. However, while all of this was going on, Not managed to sneak over to where they had left their horses, unpin them, slapped 5 of them to go run off to wherever, and took 4 of them with her and brought them back to her people at their camp as the bandits were heading off without their equipment. They let them put their armor back on, but they took all of their weapons. So then, after that was done, the rest of the trip to Zadash was peaceful. In Zadash itself, they showed up and instantly were approached by a man who looked like he had been of some social standing at one point, but had been out on the street for a while now. His clothes are pretty worn out, and he is kind of just getting by the skin of his teeth at this point. But he was offering in exchange for pay to basically be their guide, as they seemed like they were new to the city. And so he would tell them, where everything was. And they were led to a store called the Invulnerable Vagrant, in which Pumat Sol, the Furbolg, 4 of him, all of which are Pumat Sol. Apparently, one is the Pumat Sol Prime, and then the other 3 are magical copies to aid running the store. Sold some items and bought the glaive from them. Sold them a bag of holding of a sort, a bag that can hold a lot of stuff, that uses an extra dimensional, extra planar, whatever, storage capacity in order to hold stuff. They bought up a bunch of health potions, and they bought this haversack that Jester had Pumat Sol Prime turn pink for her. And Caleb spent all of his gold in order to buy the parchment and ink needed for some of his spell components. Pumat Sol is probably the coolest NPC I've seen on Critical Role. He was just, and all the cast instantly loved him too. He was a lot of fun. I highly recommend this episode if you're interested in character development, and also just for Pumat Sol, because he's just a really cool character. That was pretty much the episode. Not a ton happened. It was more kind of almost like a segue episode, I suppose, but lots of interesting character development bits happened, and just cool characters and funny and cool interactions. Like very funny episode. I highly recommend it. But like I said, there's no combat, because it was really just one round that was exchanged, and then so no real combat mechanics came through, but lots of character development, lots of humor. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I know I've got a little bit of a new setup. I hope you guys like it. I've got a better mic now. I picked up this webcam, and so yeah. Let me know in the comments if you like the new setup or if you prefer the old one where I was using my phone and sitting awkwardly on the bed. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.